Algolia provides companies with a search function that you use on a retailer's website. But the search part is just the beginning. From a click or a purchase, Algolia offers companies the chance to make change deep within their operations and personalize the experience. Its chief executive joins me now. Steven Lynch, welcome to Talking Business. Good to have you here. And in the introduction, I said that a lot of people may have used your firm, but without knowing it. Just explain the role that Algolia plays here and where we may all have come across it.
Yeah, of course. So Algolia itself is the leading AI search and retrieval platform. We power nearly 2 trillion searches per year. We have 18,000 customers worldwide. So again, Louis Vuitton, JB Hi-Fi, you name the brand, they're likely using Algolia on their website to ultimately power their search and discovery. We also have 500,000 developers worldwide using our technology to build immersive discovery experiences themselves. But I think the most simplest way to think about Algolia is, we support retailers in helping them understand what customers are looking for and ultimately build experiences they think are on brand for themselves, getting their customers to the right product or content or so forth, really in milliseconds.
And what are the conversations you're having with retailers? Because there's a lot of money being invested right now in this technology, particularly in AI. I suppose the big question is when they see a return and how much of a return they get on their investment.
Yeah, I think that is the big question currently. It is a considerable paradigm shift in the overall user experience of what search and discovery has historically been. And so a lot of them are saying, let's not fix what's not broken. Certainly, we've seen great capabilities of the ways in which we've built our .coms historically. We've seen great ways to be able to measure its overall throughput and ROI. It itself, as you change the overall user experiences, you're changing ways in which people interact with something they've become accustomed with. And so I think there is a level of intrepidation as they look to ultimately reinvent what is otherwise there. But they know there's an opportunity to really do something better than ever before. And they're looking to ultimately test that.
And how are you making that business case? Because it's not an insignificant amount of money that you're asking these firms to spend. I suppose they have to come on that journey with you and believe that it will pay off further down the line, even if right now they're only seeing kind of small incremental increases in the benefit for customers.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Algolia really sits at the crux of ultimately a level of data enrichment and data pipelines to power certain experiences. And so it's not as though we're trying to bring our customers to a place where they should be operating, but we want to make sure that they have the infrastructure, the intelligence, and the level of performance through these data pipelines to build the experiences that are best suited for them. And so in many ways, they're using us as a conduit to deliver this information into the experiences that they're building, and over time are identifying what's best for them. I don't believe that we'll be in a situation where one experience that works for one brand will work for all brands. And with the importance of taste, great design, and so forth, taking a much larger front seat, I think a lot of brands will decide what's best for them. And we just want to make sure that as they think about what's next for them to build, Algolia is part of the infrastructure, and the data pipelines give them the flexibility and throughput that they're looking for to build something performant.
And quite clearly, as you said, very different for different retailers. And also it strikes me different depending where in the world you are. I mean, China's really stealing a lead on using AI in its e-commerce platforms. What lessons maybe can be learned from that? And also, what perhaps are the things that say, well, they won't work in Europe or the US and we have to approach it very differently? I mean, are there distinct geographical differences?
I think so. I mean, I think you've always seen in the Asian markets kind of at the forefront of new experiences, particularly when, chat apps and Slack bots and so forth came out through use of these kind of all-in-one applications themselves. So, they've always been a bit on the bleeding edge. I think as we think about these experiences internally, there's one part of which the technology may make these things feasible. The other part is training the overall customer base to know that these things are available to them and to use it as such. And so there's a bit of enablement and training that has to be done as well. And so I would say that we'll probably see in the Western markets a laggard adoption of these capabilities because people will want to make sure that they're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, just kind of reinvent their entire online offering and want to make sure they have the same level of conviction and throughput and ROI that they've seen historically.
It also raises questions, of course, about safety, whether it's cybersecurity or indeed the safeguards that you might put around the use of AI. What are the concerns and how do you address them? How do you make sure people are comfortable using this technology? Because it will come down to what a customer is prepared to accept, won't it?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, I think from a security standpoint, that is something that is of utmost importance to us and has been since founding. Obviously we've been working with brands for the better part of 12 years, and we want to make sure that all the information that our customers are indexing is stored, secured, and so forth, that they have great assurances in the technology that Algolia offers, that they have confidence that that is not exposed to areas that it shouldn't be exposed to or accessible. I think from a consumer perspective, I think in each of the different markets or regions, you see a different level of appetite and acceptance as to what these features and functions know about you as an individual. Certainly here within the United States, much more kind of laxed on the personalization, but there in the EU and so forth, you're seeing a lot more of the EU AI Act and so forth. So I think as we go forward, we want to make sure that we can provide immense amount of transparency as far as what the product offers, how the technology works, and what kind of control it gives both the retailer itself in controlling those experiences. And so there's a bit of human in the loop.
Steven Lynch, really good to talk to you. Thanks for being on the program with us this week.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ben.